So did you guys know that most tree vipers are actually nocturnal? So it's actually really cool if I leave the lights off in here for a couple hours. Everybody kind of comes out and starts moving around. So let's go see what everybody's doing. So let's see. I'll turn the lights on here in a second, but you can see the Chinese bamboo viper's out. The Trimmosaurus purple maculatus, he's out. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the lights on. So what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I wanted to give you guys kind of a little update on what's going on here in the tree viper room. We're also going to be taking something out of quarantine tonight. I finished another new cage. Now, on top of finishing another new cage, I actually redid the cage that the squams are in too. So we're going to take a look at that really quick. Alright, so in here right now I do have the red-faced purple maculatus. Because it's a bigger snake, I kind of didn't want to keep it in a tote. I have the squams paired up in totes right now so I can control who they breed with, because they are going to start breeding here again very, very soon. So I actually took this cage out because this cage was one of the very first big ones I did. I didn't do my whole spraying it down with the hose thing to get all the extra bedding off to see what would come off over time. So I pretty much did that, redid it, redid the bedding, put the bugs back in, replanted it, added some new plants, took out some other plants, but it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm probably not going to be keeping the purple maculatus in here, but I will eventually probably take her out and put something else in there. Now also, due to the fact that I did have the lights off the past couple hours, the beautiful Chinese bamboo viper is out right now. He is awesome. You guys haven't really seen him too much, but he's doing phenomenal. He is eating like a champ for me. So he is looking really good. So we're going to go ahead onto the floor now. So I built this cage specifically for the Serato Fours, the Serato Fours. So those very rare tree vipers I did get, I built this cage just for them. I built this cage over the past week and a half or so, roughly, but I used almost everything I got from my sponsor at Frosker.com. I love the way it came out. It's not full of plants, but it will. Like that plant that is up there that I just showed you guys, that's what this is. I know it's looking a little rough. It will come back, don't worry. But that's going to take up a lot of the cage. I also have some ferns over here that are kind of like a vine, but it's still technically a fern, and some other vines in here as well. So this cage is going to fill up. It's going to have lots of stuff in it over time, but I figured it's going to be a really good cage. So at the end of this episode, we're going to go out onto the patio. We're going to grab those guys and we're going to bring them in here. They are finally done out of quarantine, which I'm really excited about. So in this cage, I actually have the flat-nose pit vipers. Summer got me the male for Christmas last year, and then I recently had picked up a female a couple months ago. Now, I know you guys don't follow me because of plants, but I definitely wanted to do a video on how much or how far along these vivariums are coming. So this one I built very basic just for the fact that I know these snakes love to be on the ground, but the plant growth in this thing is incredible. The ferns are growing very nice and big. The vine in the back. I'm not really plant savvy, I don't know all the names, but I have a type of wandering Jew in here that is starting to spread out a lot, and the tropical plant in the back is starting to look phenomenal. So I'm really happy. I'm sure one day I'll learn plants, but I don't really have time to sit down and learn all these plants right now. So this one is growing in really nice, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. So this is the cage. This is the very first big one I did that has the poached tree viper, which is one of my favorite types of tree viper. He actually just shed too. It's already starting to fall apart. So I'll leave his shed in here. It's just pretty much food for the plants and all the insects that are in here as well. This one's growing in really great too. I did add a couple more plants from Frosker just to kind of fill it in a little bit more. They're still very young, they still need to grow, but this one is growing in quite nicely. I'm very pleased with the way this one came out. I do need to find him a girlfriend now. Don't I? I need to find you a girlfriend. Yes, I absolutely do. So this cage here, this is the one that has the North Philippine temple vipers in it, but again, they're not staying in this cage. This one is growing in phenomenally. The bromeliad is already starting to grow a lot of roots here off of it, which is a really good sign. I did actually plant a little baby pitcher plant in here. I don't know if it's going to make it. It might not. The moss is growing in really good. Again, I do have that type of wandering Jew in here as well, so that's growing in nicely. I'm really hoping this girl is actually gravid. If she's gravid and pops out a bunch of babies, it'll be really, really awesome. The male is kind of just hanging out back there. I did turn the waterfall off just so you guys can hear, because the waterfall on this cage is a little loud. But I'm very happy with the way this one came out. I do need to do water changes on these guys here soon. But if that girl does pop out some babies, I'm definitely going to be filming it, because they're going to be the cutest little green vipers ever. So this cage, this is the very first vivarium I did. I definitely wanted to show you guys this one, because this one is growing in phenomenally. So I do have a bromeliad here, I actually have a succulent here, another tropical plant in the back, moss kind of throughout the cage, but you see the vine in this cage. Now I actually originally planted the vines in that cork bark in the back there, and it has grown literally all over this cage, across the back, down here, up here, over across. So in here right now, I actually have the green face purple maculatus. He's right there in that little cork bark kind of hanging off the side. What's up, fat boy? He actually just shed for me too about a week ago, and there's almost nothing left of his shed. It's almost completely broken down into this little ecosystem. So remember, I do actually have bugs in these. Every single one of these has isopods in it, and also springtails. They eat different things, but they help the whole ecosystem work all together. So I'm really happy with this one. This one's growing phenomenally. I don't have this one up on the rack because I didn't have room for it, but here soon, when I am done with the very large new cage, I'll be building something else around that as well. So the Serato Fours have been in quarantine for a total of 7 weeks. So I did it a week past what I normally do, which is normally 6 weeks. Quarantine is very important, especially snakes for like these. You know, I didn't know how they were going to do when they first came in, but they're doing phenomenal. They're eating great. Their feces looks great. I've medicated them both twice for worms and parasites. So out of the 4 I started with, 2 of them made it, which were both females. I do have a very good friend of mine, a phenomenal friend of mine actually, that has a couple of males. He was the other guy I was talking about that had gotten a bunch of these as well. He's actually going to let me borrow a male come breeding time so that I can hopefully produce these just like him, because nobody has ever produced these here in the States. So it's really exciting, and it's something I'm really going to focus on here in the next couple of years. So we're going to take both of them out. I haven't shown you guys either, but the other female, the yellow one that did shed, she looks crazy. So this is kind of a reveal of what she looks like after shed. There's the other one. Alright, so I got them here both. We're going to go ahead into the snake room. Alright, so I'm going to take this one and put her over here. Ooh, that one's a little close to my hand there. I'm going to take you and put you right there. Welcome to your new home, guys. Girls. Girls, yeah, you're both girls. Alright. So this is pretty cool. This is a new enclosure form. I built it as best as I could to maybe help mimic them. So because these guys are bush vipers, they're not usually high up in trees. They're kind of low, closer to the ground. So I gave them lots of stuff to climb on, lots of bigger branches, or vines, excuse me. It's always a little bit scary too when bringing a snake out of quarantine. It's always been scary for me, at least, especially introducing it to an entire collection of animals. But it's always a nice feeling as well, thinking, oh man, another beautiful snake to the collection, out of quarantine, doing awesome. So I still do have some snakes that are not in vivariums yet, so I still have a lot of work to do. I have more cages to build. I need to get done that big 4-footer. That's something I'm going to be working on over the next month. I'm waiting for one more thing to come in the mail so I can start working on that, and I'm going to film it for everybody as well, because a lot of you guys are seemed very happy and excited for me to film building that cage. So I am nervous when it comes to that cage because it's going to be my biggest one yet, and I want it to come out phenomenal. But I am really excited about it. And I do have a couple other snakes in here. Like I said, the fancy pan viper, he's still not in the vivarium. I want to get him in one soon, but he doesn't need to go in a very large one because he's not going to be going a very large snake. I still do have a couple other squams in here too. I still have a pair left of the babies I produced that is still for sale. If you guys are interested, make sure you let me know. My other pairs are all of squams are all paired up, so they're hopefully going to be breeding this year for me, and I can control who's breeding with who, and they're going to be getting their own cages after that as well. So lots of stuff going on, like always. But anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Remember, subscribe if you're not already, smash that like button if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video like always, which will probably be on Thursday, because I'm going to try to get a video up for you guys Thursday around 6:30, and also Mondays around 6:30. So stay tuned for that. Remember, subscribe over to my live channel as well, because we're going to try doing live streams on there at least every 2 weeks for right now. And thank you to my awesome Patreons. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!